Hello guys, welcome. What's the tea? What's good? It's your girl, Just Janae. I'm just here to bring you guys some fruitful conversations that can help spark good conversations in your relationship, in your everyday life. So as you can see by the title, we are starting with how to enjoy your partner's company without having sex all the time. So I hope this conversation will spark some interest of you, and maybe you will take some tips. So why don't we just get started and get the chit chat. Alright, so I have two main ways that can entice your euphoric feel of as if you're having an orgasm just based off of someone's company. One of those ways is, well, let me backtrack because, and let me say this, we are natural sexual creatures. We have sexual parts, and anytime those parts are touched, anytime those parts are felt within, it gets our gears going. It makes us feel good. It makes us feel luscious. It makes us feel happy, joyful, but not all the time do we need to explore the physical sex to get that same enjoyment, because sometimes, and I've learned that sex can be boring. And I don't mean the actual physical up and down, different positions, and the kissing and the touching. I don't necessarily mean the actual action is boring, but the thought of it sometimes can be boring because you're doing it all the time, especially if you're doing it all the time. And you're doing it with the same person, and you're having this one-on-one connection with just one person, right? And also just from the thought of that, it becomes not as sacred because it's overly done, or it's overly consumed. So I'm here to kind of help you pull that back a little bit, to where that when you do get ready to have sex, or when you do engage in this action, it's more pleasurable, it's more enticing, and it ignites your fire. Because a lot of times when we do it often and we do it repeatedly, we're missing pieces in the relationship, whether it's the intimacy, the conversation, the physical awareness, or even just the emotional intelligence that we can have with someone. So I've picked two main tips that can help you kind of ignite that fire again. But with these tips, you have to try them out and give sex a break. So I'm saying this as if you're like, okay, I'm gonna lay off with sex for a while and just really enjoy my person's company. Now, that doesn't mean sex is not important, because if your man or your woman is not pleasuring you in the way you like to, of course you may search for it elsewhere, and then that causes friction and toxicness, and negativity just builds up, and just a whole 9 yards, right? So I'm not saying that sex is not important, but sex is not key. It's not better than the actual person, because it also depends on how sacred and how connected you are with your person for it to be that much more sweeter. So tip number one is listening to your turn-ons. Listening to your turn-ons can help induce very creative stamina. It can make for a better time in conversation. It can make for a better time in understanding, and it can make for a better time in the awareness that you have with someone. Excuse me, I'm just like burping and everything. But yes, so what do I mean by listening to your turn-ons? For example, We know what turns us on. We know how we want to be turned on. And as soon as we get into the bedroom, that's what we want. And whether it's a slow slope that we're getting into, or it's like boom, and that's what we want. But a lot of times it's better to have it gradually come across you, so that way it builds up the tension, and it builds up your stamina, so that way it's like, okay, I can last, I can go forth, and it be long, and it be prosperous, and it be adventurous, and it be joyful for the both of us. So listening to those turn-ons could simply be like, you know, if he's talking to me and his voice is deep, but all of a sudden it goes deeper, and his voice gets quieter, and then all of a sudden it gets soft. So now it's deep, it's soft, it's quiet, it's simple. He's uttering small words, and I'm like, woo, okay, I'm getting hot a little bit, right? So that's one turn on. And then another turn on could be you just simply liking physical touch. And physical touch could just simply mean a touch on the shoulder, a rub on the back, or another turn on could be, you know, someone whispering, it's not someone, your significant other, of course, whispering in your ear, you know, things like that. So then now you are aware of what these turn-ons are doing to you. They're making you hot, they're making you jumpy, they're making you excited, they're making you tense a little bit, you know, a little shaky in certain areas. So then what do we do with this? You know what I mean? Because we do not ever want to become sexually frustrated, or frustrated in general, that we're so enticed but we can't do anything with this stamina. We can't do anything with what we just built up. What do? Well, the answer is simple. Then you start to feed back into him or her. And I know you're kind of like, okay, you may turn your head a little bit because you're not understanding, so let me break it down. As someone is feeding it, you ever heard of the saying, I fill my own cup until it overspills, and when it overspills, it makes a mess, or it creates different creations, or different adventures or journeys. So it's similar to that. So when someone is pouring into you, you want to then pour back into them, and that's what makes the conversation so intimate, so much more enjoyable. Because now, like, you're flirting, you're getting emotionally attached, you know, you're learning your person as they're learning you. And, you know, it makes the time that you guys spend together meaningful. Because then you remember what they're saying. You know, you're like, okay, wow, like, I am so hot right now, like I'm boiling. He is just feeding my energy. So now let me see how I can talk to him. And it's not, and I don't want you to ever confuse it with a cat and mouse, right? It's not a cat, it's not a game. It's just giving him the same energy that you're giving, that he's giving you, so that now you guys may kiss, or now you guys may touch, but it never gets to the point of actual physical motion in the ocean sex, because you're having mental, you know, it's like he's mind bleeping you, you know what I mean? He's raising your stamina, and you're raising his. You know, he's kissing your thoughts, and you're warming his, you're warming up his. You know, he's comforting your physical, you know, by touches, by sweet touches, as you comfort his physical with maybe a brush of the hair, or, you know, touching it. It feels, I'm so in love right now. really am in love because it feels, it's unexplainable, of course. Love sometimes can be unexplainable, but it feels so darn good because I get to feel something. You know what I mean? And I get to feel it here. I get to feel it here. I get to feel it in my cheeks. I get to feel it in my heart. I get to feel it in my soul, my spirit. I get to feel it all throughout my body, my veins, my vessels. You know, it's literally like a body high. You know what I mean? Like you're literally floating on cloud 9 just based off of fruitfulness and healthy conversations, and you know, being able to tie the two together, and then sparks fly, and now you see that person for who they really are, a beautiful soul that you fell in love with, that you was interested in from the get-go, or just someone that takes care of your thoughts, you know, really cares about you, really pours into you all the time and as much as they can. And you know what's the most satisfying thing is knowing that they're not perfect, but they keep on trying. Beautiful. Knowing that they're not perfect, but they keep on trying. That's the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced being with my partner. Y'all, I could go on and on and on about my relationship, about how sweet and joyous and just energetic it is because of the energy that we give each other. You know, it's just like when you get that new job, then you get that raise, then you get that promotion, now you're CEO. Like, you keep climbing that stamina, you keep climbing that ladder, you keep climbing that energy to where you're just filled and you're happy and you're overjoyed and you're overspilling, and this time it doesn't make a mess, it makes a creation, it makes love, it makes you know, energy, it makes emotional, you know, it just feels good. So that is tip number 1. When you're listening to your turn-ons and accepting them for what they are and acknowledging them for what they are, and then you start pouring back into your partner as they are pouring into you, and it's literally like you're swapping spit. And I know we're grown now, so stay with me, okay? It's literally like you're swapping saliva. Like you're just, it's beautiful. Like, you have to try it, okay? And then when you try it, like, just see how that makes you feel. Like, is this too much for me? Because not everything is not for everybody. I understand that. But just try it for yourself and see how it feels, and see, do I like this way, or do I like this particular tip that Janae gave me. Tip number 2, probably the most what, I can't get my thoughts together, but probably the most important or most genuine tip I could give is being emotionally attached, being emotionally tied, okay? And in the form of this tip, right? Because you listening to your turn-ons, that was the first one, we got that one. Now it's all about seeing that person, not looking at them, but looking into them. Not looking past them. Don't look past people's mistakes, because hello, if there's a red flag, there's a red flag. But looking into that person, looking deeper into what they have to offer, and pulling out genuine emotions. And that's where this tip comes in, when it becomes healthy. It becomes healthy. You guys become healthy communicators. It becomes a healthy conversation. And it becomes a healthy time that you spend together. And a lot of times, you know, people say communication is the key to any successful relationship. What about understanding? Understanding a person to me is surpasses communication. Because if I understand you and you didn't have to say a word, because you're sitting in silence, because you feel doubtful, because you feel discouraged, because you may be even depressed, or you may be even hurt, you know, and you're just sitting in silence, I'm understanding you emotionally to where I know how to touch you physically, or I know how to deal with you mentally. That's a hard way to put it, but for lack of better words, I know how to take care of you mentally. Okay, so being emotionally attached to someone is not always a bad thing. I think it's probably one of the best things that brings forth a relationship, because you're understanding someone's emotions as they give them to you. You know, when you're sitting on a date or you're sitting in the living room having conversation and a person starts to cry out of nowhere, and it's not because they're sad, it's because they're happy. Like, have you ever done that? Like, just wanted to cry because the conversation was just so pure. Ugh. Let's stop for a moment and acknowledge J Finesse Beauty that I am wearing. This is gloss number 18, Baycation. Very beautiful, very creamy, very juicy and glossy. You can find this only at jfinessebeauty.com. But yes, being so emotionally attached to someone that it just becomes pure and it becomes unified and it becomes understood, and you're able to translate what someone is saying and it not be flipped. The message is clear. The conversation is transparent. That's one of the best ways to enjoy somebody's company, is to be transparent. Now, some people say don't share everything with someone because they're not going to share everything with you. Don't share everything with everyone because they may use it against you. If we can just take away all those negative connotations out for just a second and understand a person as they are and really understand their vulnerability and their sensitivity, because when a man, is vulnerable, when a man is sensitive to what you're saying, come on. Like, does that not just touch you? Does that not make you want to be like, okay, babe, what do you want to know? Because you've touched me in places that cannot be touched physically. Come on, somebody. You've touched my mind in a way that's helped me understand myself. You've touched my soul in a way that's helped me join ties with you. You've helped me become youthful in my thoughts, that I am not harsh towards yours. And lastly, you've helped me in such a way that my spirit flies and flutters and every time you walk in the room, because not only do I know that you are mine and we have created something special, but I know that you, sorry y'all, my camera cut out on me. I had to delete some stuff, but anyway, but yeah, I now know that you love me. For me, you love me for understanding, for my appearance, and you love my emotions, my feelings. You know, and that's the best way to really enjoy someone's company, is to understand them. You know, it's emotionally, because then, you know, it allows someone to be open with you. You know, as much as you share with someone, they may be timid at first, don't get me wrong, because not everybody is this open 360 book. But as you share and as you let them know, hey, I'm not pressuring you, I'm sharing because this is what I feel, this is how I want to pour into you, they will then begin to share themselves, because they're like, not out of guilt, but out of appreciation. And then it just becomes like, ugh. And I know this for a fact because, you know, my person that I truly dearly love, he told me, he was like, you know, I'm just this person that doesn't really share much, you know, doesn't really like to burden people with, you know, everything that I have going on, but I am that person to go to when you need me, when you're crying out for help, when you want someone to talk to, when you're vulnerable, when you just want to share just because, like, I am that person. And little did he know, I became that person for him. Just because I was considerate, because I cared. Just because I cared about his emotions, about his feelings. So you know, this all ties into being connected with someone and enjoying their company out of pure respect, pure sanity, and just pure love. You know, when you truly love someone, you don't have to have sex all the time because it doesn't always fill you up. You know, you ever, and women, I can only speak for women because I'm a woman, but women, you ever, like, you have sex and then you're ready to go again and your stamina is raised so much that you're satisfied, of course, but you're not filled. So these are different ways that you can become satisfied in your relationship and still be filled at the same time by listening to those different love languages, those different touches and tones and turn-ons, and having respected conversations where you can become emotionally attached to someone or emotionally tied to someone, however you want to put it. Because becoming emotionally tied to someone just allows for better understanding of what someone is going through, of how to listen to someone, of how to respect someone, you know, and their wishes and their experiences and everything they're going through. And to understand someone is of value and it's morally just, because it makes just everything makes sense then. You know, because I understand you. I don't have to question you for things. I don't have to get upset at the little things, even though we're human. There's gonna be a tug and a pull, but I don't get as upset. I don't get as frustrated. You know, because now I understand you. When you purely and surely enjoy someone's time, enjoy someone's energy that they're pouring into you and you're pouring back, please don't get that misconstrued. Don't let someone just pour into you and now they're drained, and now when you pour into them, it's like they don't care, you know what I mean, because they've been pouring all this time, and it just creates toxicness, and it creates questions, and it creates drama, extraness that you just really don't need because you didn't pour back into them. So now they're steady having to recharge. So yeah, as you're pouring into each other and you're seeing where the relationship can go, you really respect the time that you have together, and know that whenever we do have sex or whenever we do have those moments where we're doing that, they're more sacred, they're more pleasurable, they're more exciting, and not as like, all right, you want me in this position, you want me to turn my head this way, you want me to rub this part of your body. You know, it doesn't become like a routine, it becomes spontaneous. So yeah, those are 2 ways that you can enjoy your partner's time other than having sex all the time. I hope you got something out of this video. I enjoyed making it. I love talking about love. I'm a loving person, very lovable, but don't get it twisted, okay? So if you enjoyed this video, please like this video, show me some love, help us get seen by many other people that deserve to see this. Share this video if you like with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe before you leave. And one more tip, please shop locally with your Black-owned beauty business at jfinessbeauty.com. I would truly appreciate your support and lovingly be happy with you. So I'll talk to you guys soon, and hopefully it won't be so soon. But you guys know, like, YouTube, I enjoy it, but it's not my everyday thing because sometimes it can be draining. That's a whole nother story. But I'm just happy I get to sit down and talk with you guys and, you know, really relate. So peace.